Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. I'm so glad you're joining us today. We're diving into something that is a truly universal human experience, but we're looking at it from a totally unexpected angle. We all feel this profound attachment to our pets, right? But did you realize that this very emotional bond is actually pushing the absolute limits of modern science? It's true. Today, we're tracing this wild journey from the simple biological benefits of just holding a cat or a dog all the way to futuristic AI and genetic cloning. Let's get right into it. Just think about this for a second. How far would you go to bring your best friend back? Seriously, if your dog or cat went missing or passed away, what lengths would you honestly go to in order to save them, find them, or even recreate them? It's a pretty heavy question, I know. But it sets the stage perfectly for where we're headed today, starting out in human psychology and ending up in cutting-edge, multi-million-dollar tech.
Okay, here's our roadmap for The Explainer. We're going to cover 1. The power of pet companionship, 2. The agony of pet loss, 3. Coping with the void, 4. Searching for the missing, 5. The pet cloning boom, and finally, number 6, tech's cure for grief.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the power of pet companionship, why we love them. Before we dive into the loss or the cloning stuff, we really need to establish the baseline here. Why do we love these guys so much? Well, science makes it clear. They are way more than just animals hanging out in our homes. They're actually absolutely crucial to our physical and mental well-being.
Check this out. There's this fascinating study from the World Journal of Advanced Research, and they found that nearly half of pet owners, 48.78% to be exact, saw a noticeable drop in things like anger, depression, loneliness, and restlessness. And it gets better. Close to 10% of people actually saw real physical improvements. We're talking lower blood pressure, reduced cardiovascular risk, and even better management of diabetes. Your pet is literally a living, breathing wellness intervention. How cool is that?
But this incredible bond definitely has a devastating flip side. That brings us to Section 2, the agony of pet loss, a very real grief. We've got to validate the immense, very real psychological pain that happens when a pet passes away, mostly because society doesn't always take it seriously enough. Listen to this number. 1 in 12. According to a major UK study published in PLOS One, 1 in 12 cases of what psychologists call prolonged grief disorder are caused by losing a pet. This isn't just feeling a little down for a few days. This is a severe mental health condition. We're talking intense longing, despair, and having a hard time just functioning for months or even years. Actually, 7.5% of grieving pet owners met the strict diagnostic criteria for this disorder. That is almost exactly the same grief rate we see after someone loses a human partner or a sibling.
And that perfectly tees up this quote from Philip Hyland. He's a psychology professor at Maynooth University who authored that study, and he hit the nail on the head. He argues that severe grief for a pet is identical to grieving a human. He says the decision to exclude pet loss from the bereavement criterion for PGOD can be viewed as not only scientifically misguided, but also as callous. The big takeaway here? If you've ever been absolutely crushed by the loss of an animal, your grief is 100% biologically and psychologically valid.
Which leads us to Section 3, coping with the void, regulating our emotions. Because pet grief is often what's called disenfranchised grief, meaning society kind of shrugs and doesn't always recognize your right to mourn. How do we actually process it?
Well, a joint study from Australia and the UK found that our brains basically take one of two paths. On the adaptive side, we use strategies like cognitive reappraisal, acceptance, and positive refocusing. And doing this actually brings down anger and trauma over time. But on the flip side, the maladaptive side, we can easily fall into catastrophizing, self-blame, and rumination. The study showed that owners who lean into that self-blame experience severely heightened prolonged grief. So how we frame our thoughts literally dictates how we heal. But what if your pet doesn't pass away? What if they just vanish? That is Section 4, searching for the missing, the ambiguous loss. It's this incredibly unique kind of psychological torture because there's just no closure. Just recently, there was this frantic Reddit user in Dhaka practically begging for help to find their tricolor cat that escaped near a busy bus stop. That sheer panic? It's universal. So if you ever find yourself in that total nightmare, what does the data actually say you should do? A University of Queensland study looked at over 1,200 lost cats, and the insights are huge. First off, cats usually hide in total silence. They won't meow, even if you're right there calling them. Second, they really don't go far. 75% are found within just a third of a mile from where they escaped, and a crazy 18% are hiding directly outside a home entrance. Also, those passive methods, like leaving a dirty litter box outside, they actually fail most of the time. The scent can just attract aggressive neighborhood cats that scare your pet away. The reality is, 59% of cats are found alive purely through active physical searching. So here are some actual data-backed steps from a literal pet detective, Kat Albrecht. Step 1. Comb every single inch of your house thoroughly. I mean, she once found a cat that had been missing for weeks, trapped inside a hinged window seat. Step 2. Do an active physical search, but just up to 5 houses away. Look under porches, check the bushes. Step 3. Set humane traps and check them constantly. You can't just rely on putting up flyers. You really have to do the physical legwork.
Now, for some owners who have, let's say, immense resources, simply searching or grieving just isn't enough. Moving to Section 5, the pet cloning boom, a scientific resurrection. This is where we step out of practical reality and straight into a multi-million-dollar biotech sector. So who is actually getting cloned these days? Well, dogs absolutely dominate the market at 67%. Cats make up about 29%, and horses or exotic pets are the remaining 4%. They use a process called somatic cell nuclear transfer. Essentially, they take a preserved cell from your pet, pop its DNA into a donor egg, and a surrogate animal gives birth to a literal genetic twin of your best friend.
And let me tell you, this industry is absolutely booming. The global market is projected to hit $3.58 billion by 2035. But yeah, it is not cheap. Right now, cloning a dog is going to set you back between $35,000 and $50,000. A cat? Up to $35,000. There's a major Chinese biotech company called Sinogene that's pushing these boundaries incredibly fast. They even successfully cloned an endangered wild Arctic wolf named Maya. And now they're offering these memory preservation packages that include DNA archiving for future cloning, along with digital pet diaries. It's wild.
Which brings us right to our final frontier. Section 6, Tech's Cure for Grief, the digital afterlife. Look, if you can't exactly drop 50 grand on a genetic clone, maybe artificial intelligence can step in to digitally preserve the pet or person you lost.
Enter the Deathbot. Okay, I know, the name sounds super alarming, but hear me out. It's basically the use of generative AI to create a digital avatar using the voice and appearance of the departed, all to give comfort to mourners. And this is turning into a massive trend, especially in China. During the Qingming Tomb Sweeping Festival, which is all about honoring ancestors, a lot of people are turning to these AI chatbots. Since traditional religious grieving avenues are sometimes a bit restricted over there, these digital avatars are offering a really profound, accessible way to find comfort.
But there is a catch. And honestly, pop culture warned us about this. Think about that old Black Mirror episode. A grieving woman uses an app to recreate her deceased partner from his social media data, and eventually puts that data into a synthetic body. The resemblance is uncanny, but ultimately, it's flawed. The AI can mimic his voice perfectly, but it completely misses his true quirks, his minor flaws, the little unrecorded things that made him human. And that exact same logic applies to AI pets or avatars today. The tech can mimic, for sure, but it absolutely cannot replace the soul of the bond you lost.
And that leaves us with a really profound question to chew on today. As technology keeps bridging the gap between grief and immortality, whether we're talking about a cloned puppy or an AI chatbot of a lost loved one, are we actually healing our hearts, or are we just hiding from the natural pain of loss? It's a super complex ethical and emotional frontier, and one we're all going to have to navigate as science pushes forward. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. I hope it gave you something deep to think about, and I'll catch you next time.